welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. Solomon had this to say concerning friendship in Ecclesiastes 4:9. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Folks, we live in a lonely world. There are people who have been so bitterly disappointed by friendship betrayal as to withdraw from even trying to form relationships. There are many who never allow themselves to fully trust anyone. Such dark cynicism can never illuminate the sparkling diamond of unfettered love that was meant to glitter and flash in each of our lives. Two are better than one. No matter how capable, self-sufficient, self-contained be the one, two are better. Think of the marriages we have seen about us. Our culture is so often hostile to marriage, and the consequences are everywhere. People speak so harshly of the spouse who was once the most desirable thing in life, while the most capable musicians, the arts, the entertainment industry glamorize infidelity. And yet, one of the hardest things in life is to grow old while quarreling often with an erstwhile companion, perhaps a mother or father of one's children, over their affections, over dividing life's earnings, over emotional wounds from a terrible past. Two are better than one. And yet, while those not already too disillusioned to consider this truth objectively may concede it, by itself it's not enough. It offers no cure. People are not lonely because they don't want companionship. They are lonely because they don't understand how to get it and keep it. The verses above the one here quoted deal with the yearning for riches. Being sociable is the cure of this evil. Men who are thus sordid because they are all for themselves, Solomon intends to recommend to us both marriage and friendship, two things which selfishness decline, but such are the comfort and advantage of them both, if prudently contracted, that they will very well be worth every cost. Man in Eden itself could not be happy without a mate, and no more can you or I be complete and unfulfilled without sharing the heart and confidences of friends. Two are better than one, and happier together than any of them could be separately, more pleased in one another than they could be in themselves only, mutually serviceable to each other's welfare, and by a united strength more likely to do good for others. They have a good reward for their labor. He who serves himself only has himself only for his paymaster, and commonly proves more unjust and ungrateful to himself than his friend, if he could serve him, would be to him. He that is kind to another has a good reward. The pleasure and advantage of holy love will be an abundant recompense for all the work and labor of love. Thus Solomon points out the mischief of solitude. Woe to him that is alone. He lies exposed to many temptations which good company and friendship would prevent and help him to guard against. He wants that advantage which a man has by the countenance of his friend, as iron has of being sharpened by iron. If two open their hearts to each other, they have heat. When one is discouraged, broken-hearted, hard beset by grief or failure, a dear friend can shine in the sunlight that warms and thaws. Even the frozen center of hope and cheer can give a loving presence, a kind word, a warm embrace. It is comforting when one is sobbing bitterly to see the sympathetic tears well up in the eyes of a dear friend, thus showing how their heart is united to yours. We need each other, folks. My glad message to you is that there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother, and that through his blood he has redeemed a church that is in this world filled with warm, loving hearts, true, deep friendships, not merely a threefold cord, but 1,000 cords our hearts entwine forever and forever. God intends us to love, support, and nourish each other. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.